What's up guys, it's your boy GT here, back at it again with another review, and today we're gonna take a close look at the 2017 Ford GT right here by Maisto. And honestly guys, this is really weird because it's my first ever purchase of a 1 to 18 scale car. For those who are new to my channel, I mainly collect 1 to 64 cars, but for me to collect something this big for the first time, it feels kinda weird. But despite that, I am really happy to have purchased this because it's a really cool looking car, and I can't wait to show you guys some of the quirks and features that this car has to offer, and some downsides I feel that I should point out. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this Ford GT right here. First up, let's talk about the things that I really like about the car. You know what, let's just take a closer look in the car in general. So you can see it comes in this fantastic blue paint job, which I absolutely love. There was a gray color and a blue color as well around this shade, but without the white stripes. But I think out of the three, this one caught my attention the most, and this was the one that I purchased, and it looks really beautiful. And the white stripes as well, it's perfectly printed. There are no scratches or whatnot, which you would come to think that Maisto, it's like a budget level, right, for the 1 to 18s. But no, from what I can see right here, it's good quality right here. I've seen reviews from other YouTube channels, and even they agree that Maisto does a fantastic job for a lot of their 1 to 18 scale cars. So you know what, let's take a closer look at the car itself. Let's start with the front right here. So on the front, you can see we have the plastic headlights, and this is completely new to me because I collect 164s, and usually Hot Wheels cars are 164 cars. They only have this printed front lights right here, but now if you take a closer look, it actually has the shape of the front headlights, all the silver trimming, the actual working headlights, and within the plastic piece itself, you can see inside there's an even smaller plastic piece to like recreate the actual shape of the front headlights of the 2017 Ford GT, and that's a really nice touch. And also, if you guys look at the articulation of the front bumper and this front hood right here, it looks really great, and even the wire mesh right there, which is to help with the what we call the aerodynamics of the car, right? I've seen a video where they passed smoke through here to the front bumper of the car, and it comes out here for aerodynamics so that the car will go faster. And even Maisto had that detail right there, although it's not completely hollow like it's supposed to be, it's still right there. And this does have an opening trunk right here, and you can see it's not that big as it should in real life, but yeah, that's a pretty cool quirk right there, right, or feature where you can put your luggages there in real life and whatnot. There's not much detail to it. I'm not sure whether this is how it's supposed to look in real life, whether it's supposed to be, there's like supposed to be some metal rods inside or whatnot, but it's a cool feature that this has an opening front hood for you to put your stuff if this is a real size car. Now heading to the side of the car, look at this right here on the side. Man, this is what I really love about the Ford GT. It's just a shape, right? Look at that. From this angle, you can see the iconic Ford GT shape right here. I guess you could say it's not iconic, I don't know, but I absolutely love it. But let's take this one part by one part. So look at the wheels right here. You can see there's the brake caliper details. I think it was I can't really see the brand. Oh, it's a Brembo brakes right there, so that's nice. They actually had the licensed Brembo brakes for this Ford GT. I would come to think that it's just a generic brake caliper, but that's cool. They do have a signal light tempo right here, but instead of being a plastic orange piece, it's just a printed orange light. Now you come to think that Auto Art, I think some of you guys told me that Auto Art also has it's gonna release a Ford GT. I think Auto Art, what they really do is that even inside lights like this, there'll be plastic parts. But for Maisto, since it's a lower end, you could say, it's understandable that they printed an orange light tempo right there. So that's really cool. And also, just a bonus, you can actually turn the wheels using the steering wheel, which I'll show later. And also the brake calipers, when the car is moving forward, you can see that the brake caliper doesn't spin with the car. That's a nice touch. And suspension, yep, for those who follow me on Instagram at Drifters Diecast, shameless plug, this car has suspension. Man, that's right, Tomica, you're losing out. I'm just kidding, y'all, but really, this car has suspension, and it's pretty nice. Check that out. I think this is only for the exclusive version, suspension. If you guys buy the normal gray or the lighter blue version without the stripes, I don't think it has suspension from what some of you have told me, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this has some pretty nice suspensions. Now, heading to this door right here, we do see it has a side mirror, and it's pretty firm. I don't really want to play with it too much. I've heard that a lot of 1 to 18 collectors, a really common problem is that they break off the side windows of the car easily, so let's not touch that. But it does look pretty cool, and it even has like a small aluminum foil to it. Look at that. You can see right here from this angle that is actually a mirror. Like, you can actually see the reflection of the car. Look at that, you can see the reflection of the car. That's a really nice touch. And yes, this car does have an opening door, so let's go ahead and do that right now and see the interior of the car. And you know what, since I've opened the other side, let me open the other side as well. Check that out. Very nice. And you can see the interior of the car. It's alright, I guess. I mean, for this price tag, you could say you won't really expect too much details, but you can see this, the white driver seats, that detailed right there. I'm so sorry guys, this is as much as the door can open, so yeah. And the dashboard, the steering wheels, they're all detailed right here. And if you take a look at the other side, I'm trying my best guys to show you guys how awesome the interior is. Oh, there, maybe you can, oh there, look at this, you can see it better from here. What a really cool interior. You have some basic details in there. Maybe it's not as unique as Auto Art, but guys, remember that this, I actually got this for $119, but it was on sale. It was 30% off, so I got it for around $80 instead. And considering Auto Art usually go for like far more expensive prices, from what I can see right here, definitely worth the price tag, in my opinion at least. So anyways, let's go ahead and close the doors. You can see the interior, it's pretty nice, you know, you can see some white details right there. Let's head on to the rear part of the car, and this is where you can see the flying buttons. That's what they call it. You can see the gap right there. That's a really cool thing. I think Maisto did it perfectly. You would come to think that it might be a bit chunky or whatnot. That's not the case. Maisto executed this part of the car perfectly, and that's really nice. Look at that. That's really cool. What I love about the Ford GT is just the flying buttons, man. You gotta love the engineering behind the flying buttons. It's a really cool car. So heading to the rear, you can see it has plastic rear lights right there, the iconic circular rear lights that Ford GT always has. But this one, look at that, it looks pretty cool. Even has the black part right there, and the exhaust pipes, or the exhaust right there, it's black, and with those things right there, those wedges or spokes around the exhaust. I'm not sure what they're called. It has a license plate, not a real one, but it does have the Ford logo on it and Ford Performance. And the diffusers underneath the rear of the car, they're all there. And it has a small texture to it to like recreate the carbon fiber texture, so that's really nice. And we'll check that out. It also has some extra lights right here. I think, oh, they're printed red lights, but you can kind of see that it's not printed perfectly. You can see that the red paint kind of overlaps a little bit with the black part of the car, so that's a downside right there, but it is there, and it's a nice touch. But it's not a plastic part, it's a red part. And I think a lot of people, when I actually posted a picture of this Ford GT, they were thinking whether the spoiler actually could lift up. So now that's the thing, I'm not sure about 1 to 18 scale. I think from what some of you say, some models actually have movable spoilers, I think. So I guess for this one, it doesn't have a movable spoiler. So yeah, that kind of sucks. It would be cool, of course, if this had a moving spoiler, but that's not the case right here. Alright, so enough about the rear. It's pretty nice. Let's take a look at the top part right here of the rear of the car. It does have the engine, and you can see that black matte paint that goes around the engine, the cover, it goes all around, and that's a really nice touch. But you can open this to have a closer look and check that out. Now there's some downsides to this later on, which I'll point out, but for now, here is the engine. You can see some writing right there. You can see powered by Ford. Nice touch. And there's some basic engine details. Now it does look plain as compared to other models I've seen Ferraris by Maisto and whatnot, and they look absolutely crazy. But the thing is, this is actually as realistic as it can get, or as realistic as Maisto can make it be, because in real life, the engine of the Ford, it just looks like this. Is quite simple. There's no like wires or roll cages behind the engine and whatnot. So this is actually quite realistic in what I can see. So I think Maisto did an awesome job detailing the car right there. Look at that. Even you can kind of see the engine from right here. It's a really beautiful view from right here. Check that out. So now let's talk about some of the problems or maybe downsides I have with this car right here. Now do note that I'm not a 1 to 18 expert, so some of the points I might say in the next few minutes they might not make sense. So if I do make a mistake and you're familiar with 1 to 18 scale, please feel free to correct me in the comments below. Let's have a civilized discussion and whatnot, because honestly guys, I'm not very familiar with this territory. But the first problem I have are with the doors. Now when I display this Ford GT right here in my corner, which is right there, I actually like the cars to be open, right? But the thing is, it just kind of sucks that Maisto didn't like find a way to make the doors open without having to, you know, expose that bare metal right there. Maybe they could have given more allowance for this pivot point right here so that it won't end up scratching the paint off the door, but it did, and it kind of sucks, you know, because once the doors are open, if you take a close look, you can kind of see it. It's not even that small, it's actually quite noticeable, and it does kind of suck having to see that part right there. And the door also, I just want to add, is a little bit flimsy. I'm not sure what's going on right there. I'm not sure if 1 to 18 scale cars or maybe exotic cars, right, where the doors open like with butterfly doors or open wing doors and whatnot, yada yada yada. But it is kind of flimsy, and it's not that much, but still there's a noticeable thing right there with the doors. The second problem I have is here in the engine bay. And if you guys take a look at this photo, which should appear on your screen right now with the power of magic, you can see that there's actually a second trunk behind the engine of the Ford GT. But now if you take a look at this model right here, I'm not sure why Maisto decided to omit that detail right there. Now I understand that this is a lower end car, but you would assume that maybe, you know, it's just a small detail. All they have to do was cut a hole here, right? But they didn't include that part, which kind of sucks. Now I'm not sure whether that the extra trunk is like a option, right, for the car, or it's supposed to be there. I'm not sure. So for this point, you might wanna, you know, ignore it. I don't know, because it just kind of sucks that there's no detail right there. But fine, even if there's no trunk there, if you take a look at the engine, I did mention just now that the engine does look plain. It is quite realistic because this is how it practically looks like in real life. But since it's already plain, I would, you know, at least hope that Maisto could have included a little bit more details on the engine. So you can see right here, you can see this is what the engine looks like in real life. There are some additional wordings which appear on the engine, which if you take a look at this model right here, does not have. If Maisto added those extra words, those wordings which appear on the engine, I would have forgiven them for the lack of details that this engine has. Because once again, I've seen other rear engines of Maisto cars, for example, and Burago cars like the Ferraris and whatnot. If you take a look right here, that looks absolutely insane. And in terms of price point, they're actually quite similar. So you come to think that for the engine, at least they could have given it more details, but that's not the case, and it does kind of suck. Now, despite those downsides, overall I think Maisto did a brilliant job with this Ford GT. And honestly guys, after stepping foot into the world of 1 to 18 scale, I kinda wanna buy another 1 to 18 scale car. I don't know yet. I know it kinda sucks because I might go broke, but really I'm very impressed by what 1 to 18 scale cars have to offer. I mean, their details are absolutely insane. So yes, it has some nice details and whatnot, but the doors and the lack of details on the engine, it kinda sucks. But I think if I were to rate this car from a scale of 1 to 10, I will without a doubt give this car a 9.5 out of 10. Good job by Maisto creating this gorgeous car right here. So there you have it guys, for my very first review of our 1 to 18 scale cars. Well, not really, because I do have another 1 to 18 scale car. It's actually this Ferrari right here, which my uncle gave me, but this Ford GT right here is my very first purchase, and it is quite pricey. Usually 1 to 64 cars, they cost like what, $4, $5, maybe $10, maybe even $20, $30, but this right here, it retails for $120. Now that's insane. So it is quite new to me, but honestly I'm really happy to add this to my collection. But well, anyways, what do you guys think? Do you think it's worth it, you know, for us Hot Wheels collectors? Will you buy a 1 to 18, or do you have a 1 to 18 scale car? Tell me in the comments below. And if you, for those 1 to 18 collectors, if you guys have any tips or things that you want to point out, some mistakes I've made throughout the whole video, please feel free to tell me in the comments below. I'd like to have a civilized discussion with you guys. But anyways, that's it guys for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed something different from what I usually review. But yeah, without you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and stare at this car for a few more minutes because it's really gorgeous. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.